Welcome back to Weekly Reflections with Salt and Muggs. Father Muggs, how we doing this week?
I'm doing wonderful. It's a beautiful Wednesday here in Syracuse.
It's beautiful. We were
The
just
sun is shining right above the clouds.
right above the cloud. That's good.
It's always sunny in Syracuse.
It is, right? Technically, I mean
Yep.
that's a really good way to look at it.
You got to think, right? One time I was flying back from Chicago, and it was a beautiful day, beautiful fall day, blue skies. We got over the white clouds at about Erie, PA.
Yeah.
And we're just flying. And all of a sudden, we dipped down below the clouds into Scranton, and it was dark, and it was raining. But I just remembered, right, like a half mile, right up there, the sun is still shining.
Isn't that
always
interesting?
shining?
Isn't that so interesting? That's actually a good analogy for like not allowing the storms to cloud the truth, if that makes sense.
Yes.
We were talking about
or to cloud our choices and basic way we're living our day or living our life. We were talking the other day about feelings and emotions. And that was one of the things as a young person I really appreciated learning from some of the older Jesuits, that feelings are like weather. They come and they go. Feelings are not facts. What you really want to cultivate and grow are your emotions. You want to be at peace. You want to be energized and enthused. You want to have an emotion of hope and a desire to love, and push against, the temptation to despair, the temptation to think that life is not worth living, the temptation to think that I don't matter, or I'm not a good person, or I don't have what it takes. Everybody has what it takes. Everybody has what everybody has something the world needs, and we need them. And we need to help each other give what we have to the world to make a great world for one another.
Yeah, that's really good. We mentioned. Wait, go ahead. No, go.
And some days you feel like doing that.
Yeah.
And some days you don't.
Yeah.
Some days you feel like getting out of. No, I never feel like getting out of bed. But some days you feel like going, and other days you got to kind of push against those feelings of You got to really push. And I find with prayer, you ask God to help. You ask other people to help. If you're a little down, talk with somebody.
Yeah.
If you're up, share with somebody that you're up and that you can see the sun above the clouds.
Yeah. I think with that point, it's tough for a lot of people because they feel like they have nobody to go to. But I think what you're, hinting at is like you always have somebody to go to, especially with prayer. You have somebody in God, but that could be something that's really tough for kids to navigate, not having anybody to go to.
Yep, and you really have to kind of take the risk of putting yourself out there and letting somebody know that maybe you need some help or you need a listening ear. And if you're the person listening, don't think you have to solve all their problems.
That's really good.
Don't think that you have to be their counselor or you have to have an answer for them. Some kids, when they hear about a kid with a real family problem, or a kid who's really struggling with, maybe suicidal thoughts or something. And you realize, even as a priest, we're kind of taught to be first-level counselors. And we have to know when we're beyond our depth. So, somebody who's really in danger, you have to get them to help. But most of us just need to be a listening ear. And we don't have to solve a problem, but to just be present to the problem.
Beautiful.
Just let people know that we care and we give a damn. There was a sister I worked with in Camden, New Jersey for many years. I was in Camden 1988 to 2003. It was like
Tough.
New Jack City. I mean, it was my first 2 years as a priest. Half the people I buried had been killed by gunshot in drug wars, mostly kids.
Wow.
The higher ups never got caught. It was the kids shooting one another and doing crazy things. But there was a lot of pain in the neighborhood, but there was a lot of joy and a lot of fun. T-ball in North Camden was the funniest thing in 3 states. But Sister Linda, she was a school sister in Notre Dame, and she walked the streets of North Camden and knew all the people and knew all the women and sat with all the families and sat with all the problems. And I once said to her, Linda, how do you do it? She says, well, you sit with people in their pain until God helps us begin to feel the joy of resurrection. And if we shy away from the pain, I love that line.
That's
she said it.
so deep.
We sit with people in their pain until we begin to feel the joy of resurrection. And the beauty of that is that when we're in this situation where we're dealing with someone in pain, we know God's with us and God's bringing us through it. People need people.
Yeah.
I love the line around here. Dolphins don't swim alone.
Right. Shout out to Barb.
And I just encourage our students, our staff, everybody to just, be in conversation, be in dialogue. So much of our talk these days is about what we're for or what we're against.
Yeah.
We're all for one another. We're all for getting through the clouds up to that sun. And there is inevitable pain in life. There's no sense in dwelling on it or being stuck in it.
That's deep.
Keep moving through it. Keep moving beyond it. Keep leaving behind what you can leave behind. Don't hold on to pain. Don't hold on to hurt. Forgive. Forgive. Whatever you want to say about Charlie Kirk, his wife's act of forgiveness is amazing. There was a horrible incident in Nickel Mines, Pennsylvania, 10, 15 years ago, where a very disturbed individual took over a school, let the little boys go, and kept the girls and killed all the girls and then killed himself. It was a horrific incident. And it was an Amish school, Amish people, very defenseless people. These people don't have guns. These people don't have cars. And the Amish people that night went to the man's widow and forgave. They forgave what had happened to them. Now, they burned the school down before they rebuilt it. But forgiveness is really, really powerful.
Yeah.
And it's a real way to get through pain, to leave pain behind. You don't minimize pain. You don't say, you're not going to hold people accountable for hurting you, but you don't let it tear you down or tear you up. And we were talking yesterday, the other one I wanted to mention again was one of the ways we have to learn to respond to life and not react. As a young man, even today, when I figure out how to do this, I'll let you know, all right? But we can get so angry. And oftentimes, anger masks our inability or our unwillingness to deal with the pain.
Yeah.
Instead of feeling the pain, instead of letting the pain transform us and transform our world into something like the resurrection, we just hold on to the anger, and we're so angry. And I learned something, again, as a young Jesuit. There was this school, and there was a Jesuit there who was just like a really nice guy. He was really always friendly, always happy. And one day he came in before dinner, and he just started ranting and raving. He was so pissed off about something that had happened in the school that day, and it was really bad. It was really worth being angry about and really worth being pissed off about. And then he went on for 2 minutes, and everybody was kind of surprised, listening to him to go on, because it wasn't his personality at all. And all of a sudden, he stopped, and he said, "I've been so angry about this all day. It's just not worth any more of my soul energy." And he just stopped being angry. I didn't know you could do that. I thought when you got angry at somebody, you just had to be angry for 3 weeks until it finally dissipated,
Right.
So it's really important that we learn to handle our emotions, cultivate our emotions, push against the emotions that take us in the wrong direction, and go with the emotions that take us in the right direction.
Yeah, that's good. And this is something that I've mentioned to you a couple of times, like the importance of detaching from your feelings and your thoughts, because just like clouds passing by, if you try to attach to every cloud, you're going to constantly feel unstable, but when you understand you're the observer of your thoughts and emotions, then it puts you in a seat of, let me look at this from an objective standpoint. Let me actually decide what thoughts, what feelings align and which ones don't. And I can, in that space of the observer, I can make an aligned decision. That's how you respond instead of react.
Have you ever had a moment when you've actually done that? You remember?
Yeah. I mean, I do that daily.
Really?
I'm constantly analyzing.
Wiser than most young men. I'm impressed.
I mean, it came from a lot of inner work because I went through some stuff. But just learning how to sit with myself and feel what I'm feeling and analyze my thoughts without identifying with them. If I have a feeling of tightness or a thought that maybe that won't work, or a thought of doubt, I don't identify with, I'm doubtful, or man, I can't do it. I just see it as a thought, and I decide if that's something that aligns or doesn't, And so you were talking about reacting and responding. I think reaction happens, we react a lot when we identify with our thoughts and emotions, because you feel something, you think something, you do it, right? Somebody says something, you immediately react. There's no space between something happening and then responding, and that space is awareness. You know what I mean? And so I think that's what has helped me.
And that's interesting because St. Ignatius, the founder of the Jesuits,
Yeah.
as we said, the Jesuits here at Moyne, and, you know, back in the 1500s, developed a prayer exercise called the Examen.
Yeah, yeah.
And the Examen is kind of a 5-step process of doing what you just described. You know, you stop, just stop. And, you know, stop the endless thoughts that are going on in your head and worry about what you got to do 2
Yeah.
hours from now and what went wrong 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
And you just stop and realize we're alive.
Right.
And then you give thanks. You say, you know, thanks for all the things in our life. Somebody, a great Jesuit once said, Bill Byron, he was a paratrooper in the Second World War. He was a president of Catholic University. He says, you cannot be really grateful and unhappy at the same time. You can't be grateful and unhappy at the same time. So when we cultivate gratitude, that emotion, that stance of gratitude, we get into a good space. And then we do this exercise of what are we aware of? What's going on in my consciousness the last 12 hours, the last 24? What have I been thinking about? Do I want to be thinking about that? Do I want to leave that, let that go? Do I want to, oh, wait a second, that really nice thing happened to me today, and I completely forgot about it. I'm just not aware of it. And you just bring it back to awareness. And then you spend a moment and say, okay, now what do I have to work on? What do I need to, you know, do in the next 12 hours, the next 24 hours to keep on track, to get to where I want to go, to get to where I really want to be, to become who I really want to become. And then the last step is just asking God for help. But that Examen, that practice of, you know, the 5 steps, it takes 5-10 minutes maybe. If you're more prayerful than me, it might be 15. I think Father Jason Downer does 15 minutes. He also does 15 minutes for the morning prayer and the evening prayer. I do that in about 5. But it's just, you know, kids get stressed. And they're 18, 19, 20, and they have to learn these habits of not just letting life grab you and keep you running. Take some time. I've heard so often, like, oh, Father, you know, I got to drink because I'm so stressed. Well, that's just going to cause more stress and waste a lot of money. If you go sit in the chapel for 15 minutes a day, you'd have a lot less stress. Or sit in your room by yourself for 15 minutes a day. Just, like you said, just practice awareness. Just become aware of what's going on and how you can make choices. That's what the Holy Spirit's all about, helping us make the choices we need to make.
And it's a very small, like, step process. You don't need to make big leaps to cultivate awareness. It's let me just start with 1 minute of just sitting with myself. And there's a quote, I don't know who it was. I think it might have been Rumi, but he said, if you don't make the unconscious conscious, it will drive your life and you'll call it fate, you know, and it's deep. You know, and there's a lot of things going on unconsciously, our thoughts, our emotions, you know, underlying. And if we're not able to cultivate and carve out space to analyze what's going on, those things are going to dictate our life, and then we'll just say it is what it is. This is just how it was meant to be.
And you're so right. The unconscious, not just personally, but also socially. There's a great image in anthropology that culture is an iceberg. And all you see is the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
The real power and the real reality of culture is not visible. You gotta explore and find what's down there.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that, you know, prayer at its best really does. It helps us analyze our own unconscious, what we haven't been aware of, what we haven't been thinking of. It's not like the unconscious is some spooky thing out there, you know.
Right.
The unconscious is just simply what we are not aware of and bringing it to awareness. And I think socially we have to do that too. Watching this thing with Jimmy Kimmel last night. Actually, it's not on in Syracuse, I found out. I had to find it online this morning.
Okay.
But, you know, all this kind of American nationalism or Christian nationalism, I really question it. I don't think Jesus wants us to be at each other's throat. I don't think Jesus wants us to say, America is just for America. America is great when America is good. We have to make America good again. We have to make America a society that is welcoming and inclusive and brings in the strengths of all the people and shares with the world our gifts, shares with the world our wealth. We really, you know, can unconsciously kind of accept this, well, America is number one. In many ways, we're not.
Right.
And we ought to recognize that. And in many ways, we have been better, and we could get better again.
That's very good. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. That awareness piece. It's tough, especially with what students have to deal with. I mean, think about the idea of just taking 5 minutes to just stop. That doesn't even register in a lot of people's minds.
Or it's like, I don't have time for that. Hey, it's 5 minutes. You got how much time to look at TikTok?
Yeah.
But, oh, God, you can just go through TikTok for 30 minutes like that.
It's funny because I actually saw a TikTok recently, and it was what's his name? Baker Mayfield. And he was
He's a quarterback.
Yeah,
right,
from the no, not Browns, Buccaneers now.
Buccaneers.
So he was sitting there on the sideline, and they were down, and it was fourth quarter, and he was like eyes closed, like bent over, right? And one of the comments was like he was meditating, and then another person was like, no, he wasn't meditating, he was praying. And to me, I was like, I don't think there's a difference. I think prayer is a form of meditation, or vice versa. I think for me, prayer is just like how I've always viewed it. Like growing up, I viewed it as like, oh, you're talking, but really it's a space to connect. And how you connect to God, to source, whatever you believe in, is different. It could be talking, it could be just sitting and being, it could just be going for a walk and not thinking of anything. So I'm interested to hear how you distinguish those two and how you view prayer and meditation.
Well, prayer and meditation are huge topics, but one way to kind of think about them is that meditation doesn't necessarily only have to be, but meditation can be just kind of a self-improvement program. I can meditate just so that I feel comfortable, so that I feel at peace.
Right.
Meditation, and I would say most prayer, kind of also gets us beyond ourselves. I often say prayer is a risk. People don't pray because they don't know if God is there, if God's listening, if God cares. But we also don't pray because maybe God is there. Maybe God does care. Maybe God has something for me to do. And prayer really challenges us.
Wow.
And meditation can too. I mean, certainly many forms of meditation call one to be more compassionate, more loving, more in service of others. But especially in the Christian tradition, prayer is opening ourselves up to the presence and power of the Holy Spirit in our lives. And who knows what's going to happen when we really do that. I was a crazy idiot frat boy, lacrosse playing, girl chasing.
Yeah.
Way too much beer drinking kid at Lafayette College. And I fell down the steps one night at a wild party and split my head open and ended up in the hospital.
Wow.
I was a sophomore in college, and all my friends came down to the hospital. And the look on their faces let me know that this was a little out of control. This was a little nuts. And I don't know why I did this. I hadn't been going to Mass in years. Not because I didn't believe in God or I had any problem with the Catholic Church. I was just lazy. I mean, I was a Catholic kid. I was an altar boy. Then, teenager, you just stopped going to Mass. And,
Yeah.
My mother said, as long as you live in this house, you're going to Mass. Every Sunday I'd go out to the diner, have some pancakes, So I get drunk. I fall down the steps. I'm in the hospital. So a couple of nights later, I'm back at Lafayette College, and it was a full moon. It was in the spring. And I looked up to the moon. I thought, this is really kind of stupid. I mean, I could have killed myself. And I looked at the moon. And I said, okay, God, if you're there, do something. Nothing happened. No voice, no big light in the sky. So I went back to my room. I opened up the Bible, and I put my finger in something from Romans or Hebrews, completely incomprehensible. I thought, well, okay, to heck with God. 2 weeks later, I went home to Philadelphia looking for a summer job. I'd done a lot of minimum wage jobs.
Yeah.
Minimum wage paid a lot more back then. And I ended up working in a nursing home.
Wow.
My sister she was a nursing student. She got a job there as an LPN, and I got a job as an orderly. And they actually held the job for me and lost my sister's paperwork. And my sister goes, he's the idiot jock. I'm the nurse. So I got this job. It changed me. Helping those old people die. In those days, people went to nursing homes to die.
Wow.
And I think by working at the nursing home, the way it changed me, the way it put me on the road to this, where I am now, I think that was an answer to that prayer. So prayer is, somebody said when we go to Mass, we should put on our crash helmets.
Why?
Because when you meet the living God, things happen.
Right,
and, it might be dangerous.
Yeah.
It might be something, take you where, take up your cross and follow me.
That's deep.
If you're trying to, make money out of religion, that's not the greatest message.
Right. Yeah. Nah, I feel it. Which, yeah, that's a whole another conversation.
So meditation is either way. If you stop and open yourselves up to the powers of the universe, what I consider God, what I consider the revelation in Jesus Christ, things happen. And I think the real danger is to never do that, to just live your life for the next TikTok video, get all worried about your relationships, whether your boyfriend or your girlfriend likes you, whether you're going to graduate, what are you going to do after you graduate. You're always living in turmoil and worry. And meditation and prayer can really help you realize that there's a lot going on unconsciously in the eye and the mind of God right now that you're not really aware of yet, and that you can trust. You can trust that life is good.
Yeah. I'm interested to know, this was something that I realized, because for me, meditation is, it was the thing that kind of allowed me to start to become aware of the things internally. Yeah, like I do know what you mean as far as it being like a self-help practice, but I think how meditation has helped me tremendously is it's given me the opportunity to detach from my thoughts and emotions and first become aware of those things.
And you also become aware of who are we? What are we? We are persons
Underneath
in
all the
relations.
stuff.
Yeah, and then when you meditate and you become aware of yourself, you realize what you are.
Yeah.
A loved child and daughter of God, a locus of peace and hope, an actor in the world that can make the world a better place. If you don't do that, you're just constantly reacting. You're just constantly, bouncing through the day, and a year goes by, you have no idea what you did or why you did it.
Yeah, right. And you feel purposeless. You feel like you have no direction. You feel like you don't know what you're doing. But I've found that most of the clarity and the answers are within. You just have to carve out that stillness.
That's what the Scripture says. The kingdom of God is within you.
Right.
Leo Tolstoy wrote a whole book on that.
Isn't that he did?
Yep.
Oh, I got to read that.
Yeah.
All on that.
Yep.
That's
kingdom of God is within you.
Because I feel like we really overlook that. Like we
keep looking for answers outside ourselves. We keep looking for answers from other people.
Right.
I am whoever that person thinks I should be.
Right.
And the real trick to peace and hope and love and direction is, who am I? What do I really want? What do I really desire? And I believe in prayer, in a way God can actually place desires in our hearts.
Wow.
When we meditate, we find ourselves desiring the right thing.
So true. So true.
If we desire the wrong thing, life gets off track. And there was a great philosophy teacher at Scranton, I heard him say once to the kids, you don't do good things, you don't become happy and then do good things. You do good things and then you become happy.
Yes.
You do good actions and you become happy. If you're doing bad actions and you're happy, there's something really wrong.
Yeah, I got you.
We choose what is good. We have to discern what is good. And when we do what is good, we're happy. I feel happier when I don't eat the third donut. It happened once.
That's good. Yes.
But when you do the good thing, when you sacrifice yourself, as parents do for their kids, I'm amazed at what parents do for their kids.
Yeah, it's real.
And you know how much people hurt when parents fail and don't do what parents ought to do. So we call each other to form a community that can help us do the good things.
Yeah.
That's what you two are doing with your service projects with the Moyne Way.
Every day, just trying to take steps. But when you're talking about happiness, it's beautiful because a lot of people try to cling to happiness, and happiness comes and goes, right? Just like sadness, right? It's inevitable. And when you try to cling to something that is constantly evolving and changing, it leaves you unstable, And so, like you said, when you cultivate presence, when you just really try to be where your feet are and, do things that align with what you've cultivated internally, happiness is a byproduct. You're going to have a lot of moments of happiness because it's going to come from the flow that you've created of taking that space and being aware.
And that's so wise, that happiness is a gift. It comes and goes. Sometimes you can do the exact same thing and you'll feel happy and wonderful.
Right.
And another day you'll feel like, oh man. Like I was listening to the guys on Thursday night, the men's group here, and a lot of them are runners. And they talk about sometimes they run and they just feel great.
Yes.
And other times they're running because they have to, because they've committed to this process of training and getting, fast. And sometimes they run, and it doesn't feel good at all. It doesn't make them happy.
So true.
Happiness comes and goes, but peace, love, hope, an awareness of where we're going and how we're getting there, that sustains us.
Yes.
And that's an emotion that says life is good. And I worry about the nihilism that people talk about today among young people, especially among young men. They don't believe anything. They don't trust anybody. Very cynical, very angry. And, the world isn't giving them what they think they deserve. World ain't going to give you anything. You got to go out and get it.
Yeah.
But it's worrisome when you hear about some of these dynamics.
It is, and I mean it's funny because when you talk about a lot of it too, it's like, to me it's like almost like I'm taken back, because I do think so much of what you experience is just a reflection of what you have going on internally. So like your perspective, your mindset, where you are foundationally, that's how you're going to interpret the world. Me and you could literally sit in a room and experience the same thing and have two totally different experiences.
Well, I told you the story yesterday. I want to remember to say this. Our perception changes so quickly when we realize what's really going on.
Yeah.
There was this guy driving his Lamborghini down the street, and this little 7-year-old kid picks up a big brick, throws it, and it lands right on the hood of the Lamborghini, puts a big dent in the car. Guy jams on the brakes, gets out of the car, walks up to the little 7-year-old, says, "What the hell is the matter with you? Why'd you throw a brick at my car?"
Yeah.
And the little kid starts crying and says, "My brother, he's in a wheelchair. He fell over and I can't get him up." Like that. The guy's whole perception of the situation changed.
Wow.
He realized the little kid wasn't doing something bad. He was trying to help his brother. He was crying for help. So the guy went, got the little kid back in his wheelchair. The two little kids go off. And he said he never fixed the dent in the car.
Wow.
It's like you got to look at what's really going on in the world. You got to look at what's really going on in life. Because if you, my grandmother used to quote this poem, "Two men looked out through prison bars. One saw mud, the other stars." If you're always looking at the mud, you're always going to see mud. If you're looking at the stars, you may see something very transcendental that calls us beyond ourselves.
That is incredibly profound. And that is a beautiful, beautiful way to end the...
Grandmothers are always profound.
Yeah, no, I feel you, though. That is beautiful, man. So thank you. And thank you guys for joining us for another week on Weekly Reflections with Salt and Mugs. We want to give a big thank you to LCTV for making this podcast possible in the studio space that we are currently in. A special thanks as well to the Carroll College of Arts and Sciences. We're also grateful to the Put God First Foundation for the inspiration and reminder that grounds our work. And of course, gratitude to the Grace Center for their support in making this happen. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to the Grace Center and LCTV in the links below so you never miss an episode. We will see you next week.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Great.